Hello, everyone. My name is Rose Simpson. I'm a librarian at the New Haven Free Public Library, and welcome to Co-Create. We're here with our creative in residence, Nadine Nelson, and today's special guest is Ife Michelle Gardin. So would you two like to introduce yourselves?
Yes. I'm Nadine Nelson. I am the chef, owner, and educator of Global Local Gourmet. It's the interactive culinary education company. We specialize in experiential Epicurean events. I am also the creative in residence, and I'm so happy to be here this year, I guess, or 6 months, doing these programs. And each week we do co-create, and it is a time for myself as an artist and a creative to work on projects and also be in community with another artist and creative. And this week we have Ife, and I don't introduce my guests usually. I usually just say like how I know Ife. And so I know her as a woman around town, but then she's a Renaissance woman. We also were in a fellowship program at Yale together, where she created the Elm City Lit Fest. You did the groundwork. Was it there?
Yes,
I think you were doing it before, but so
that was the
but
ground.
yeah. So she is the curator or producer.
Creator, founder. I don't like. I
Yeah.
hate titles. I hate titles.
Yeah, so Elm City Lit Fest, but then also we know each other through marriage because my cousin is married to
My
her
cousin.
cousin. Yeah, her cousin. So she has been to, not only do I see her around town, but I see her occasionally at family events, and we're the cool older cousins. You know, we're wild women, and we have fun at these family gatherings because my family can be a little straight edge and a little boring. So Ife and I will go kiki it up and have a good time and
That little spice bit of flavor.
crack some jokes. So so I have Ife introduce herself.
Greetings. I'm Ife Michelle Gardin, native of New Haven. Lived on and off in Brooklyn and in Harlem because I love arts and culture. That's what Ife means. Ife means love of creativity, love of art and culture. It is derived from several West African dialects where each definition means love of something. So about 32 years ago, when I was looking for a name for my daughter, whose name is Raven Amandla, I kept coming across Ife. So I said, I want to take that name because I was living in the arts. I've always been interested in the arts, dance, went to Bowen Peters. Shout out to all the folks that went to Bowen Peters that grew up in New Haven. Love dance, love arts and culture. And so, so I took on the name and I've been trying to live that out. And so I was away from New Haven from 2012 to 2018. Moved back here for some caregiving for my mom and decided because I had in the past before I left worked for many arts organizations around New Haven in various capacities, coordinator, community liaison, blah blah, you name it. And so wanted to create something. So Elm City Lit Fest was born because New Haven has a lot of festivals, but they did not have a literary festival. And the Elm City Lit Fest is a celebration of literature, literary arts, and literary artists of the African diaspora. We
Nice.
we launched last year. Was supposed to be, of course, as everything else in 2020, was supposed to be live, and was quite generously offered the space at Concat to do it because we were featuring local, regional, and global artists of color. and wanted them to sell their books, and so that couldn't happen inside the library, unfortunately. And so we were going to have it at Concat, but had to pivot. And we had a very nice virtual event last September, and we have another one coming up September 11th and 12th this year. So I hope everybody joins in. And we have a bi-weekly podcast on Sundays. That is that at Sundays at 7. We just had one last week where we had to talk about it's Women's History Month, and we had to talk with two very talented playwrights that are in the Yale grad school, African American women. Because one of the things that doesn't happen in New Haven a lot is connecting with the Black folks at Yale, connecting with the community. So we did that, and we're gonna have a book club. No, we had a book club. We're gonna start up our book club again, and on Sunday, if you so desired, email elmcitylitfest@gmail.com, and I'll send you the link because the book club is not broadcast live. So we're reading Girl, Woman, Other by Bernadine Evaristo, who is a Black British writer. And it's stories about women, short stories about women. And I started all this because I'm a writer, and I'm talking a lot, ain't I?
So what kind of writing do? You do short stories?
I do poetry, short stories, and writing a play. I was in a playwright workshop program at Long Wharf with internationally known Universus theater company, Mildred and Steve Sapp. And our plays, the participants of that program will be in a theater festival in July. So I have a play coming about Zoom life.
About what?
Zoom life.
Oh, Zoom. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
because like you have to have so many meetings and stuff on Zoom. So I got to play about different scenarios because the play will possibly be virtual, possibly not. So you gotta accommodate. But yes, I write prose and plays. I have been participating in some over COVID in a lot of other writing workshops, and once in a while I'll come up with some poetry. So, and I'll share some over this time we are together, along with my rosé. Clink, clink.
Well, if I knew we were drinking, then I would have gotten something, but it kind of interferes with my sleep sometimes, especially being perimenopausal. Like, so I try and not have anything interfere with my sleep because anything can, so we're just trying to make, menopause something that we talk about, because no one talks about it. And then it comes and you have all these things. You were one way, and then all these other things where all of a sudden you think you're going to die, like literally.
I know. I have a piece. I gotta find it. I got a piece about menopause.
So we're just trying to normalize like the symptoms. So I went from a person who slept all the time, or like slept all night long, to having interruptions in sleep. And I'm a person who needs my sleep. So it's been a little rough sometimes.
For all of us. It's important for all of us. So you have cards, Nadine?
Do you want me to read your cards now first?
Sure.
Do you want me to? I have a bunch of them, so I can. I'm trying to gather up what I'm doing for my collage, the theme I'm going for, or the themes. All right, so I'll do a goddess card. I usually do a goddess card. So I have Inner Goddess, Ife Look, and then I have the Goddess Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue.
The ones with the heart.
Okay.
Inner Goddess. Let's see what it is.
These are really pretty cards.
They look pretty.
I'm just gonna put the wand over there to clear the energy. Put out some amethyst.
I'm burning some lavender incense right now.
Oh, really? I have some sweetgrass. I was gonna burn it also. Okay.
Lavender is one of my favorite scents. I don't know what. There's something about lavender that always
I love
gets.
lavender too. I like lavender. I love rose. I love jasmine. I like flower scents, like for perfume.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
The sweet grass that my friend, she grew and then dried, and she made some lavender ones too. I don't know if I have a lavender one upstairs still. And she grew her own sage ones too.
Wow, that had to be nice, pure. A friend of
Yeah.
mine grows lavender, so in the summer she drops it off on my porch. I just love it.
Yeah. You know who dropped something off on my porch? You know Kay, Jamaican Kay. So her mom dropped off some um Irish moss.
Oh, that
So
was a treat.
yeah, so I use it in my tea in the morning now. I'm trying to just reverse that clock. No, my former students, you look so much younger. I was like, yeah, stress free.
Yes, it's liberating. We have to acquire a way to age well, because I'm 61. I claim it. I always say it. People be like, oh, you telling your age? Yes, I'm telling my age. Yes.
Yeah, that's how I feel too, because we have to normalize being older. Everyone's afraid, and they act like there's everything bad with being older, and except for, sometimes your body part's not working, or when you want to drop it down low and you're like, I'm going to drop it down low, and then you can't get back up again. you know?
You know what? My 60th birthday in 2019. We had a I celebrated it in it was my sophisticated sexty is what I called it.
Okay.
Because I felt like at 60 I really felt the sexiest of my life. Like I own my saggy titties, my jiggles, my stretch marks, whatever. And I posed in a bikini and I got my first tattoo
Hey,
at 60.
where'd
It
you
was
get
liberating. It was liberating. And it's not a
where'd you get
bad
the
thing.
tattoo?
It's on my back.
Oh,
It's like right
yeah,
up here.
no, yeah, gotta do
Um,
you. We only got one life to live on this earth, at least. So, I
it was
mean,
The
I
something
tat-
don't know,
that
maybe we
I
come back.
always
But
what was the tattoo?
yes. Huh?
What was the tattoo? What did it look like?
The tattoo is Indinkra symbol for the fern.
okay,
And it the symbol means endurance and resourcefulness.
oh,
Okay.
okay, yeah,
Because there was I always wanted a tattoo, but couldn't I didn't I couldn't think of where I wanted to put it because I think that certain clothes you wear when you're dressed up or something, it just looks awkward to have. Just from me, my personal opinion, I just wanted not to have things distracting. Because I love shopping, I love clothes. So, um, and then I wanted to have something that was meaningful, and that symbol came to me. And there, it's a fern. I think I have a picture of it in my phone. I
all
could
right.
hold it up to the camera.
I was just shuffling. So just tell me when to stop shuffling.
Now,
Okay. And then do you want me to spread, or do you want me to go top, bottom, middle? Just hold them, or how do you want me to do it?
oh, spread. Let's see.
Okay. And then I have my hands. Tell me where to pick.
Pick in the middle somewhere, right there.
Okay.
This is exciting.
It says, look at this. Oh, so we're on co-create, and
Uh-oh.
you got create tricks. Create tricks. So let me
Hey.
read. I've never seen that card. These are pretty much a brand new deck. So I like when people pick them because
Okay.
it helps me to work with them. So let's see. I see create tricks. So your soul is a divine creative fire. She wants to break free from what has been and give life to something new. You may experience this as feelings of restlessness, of being confined or craving for something more that you cannot quite articulate. Your soul doesn't want you to push that new life away. She wants you to embrace it. When you let go your inhibitions and freely express yourself, stagnant situations will be cleared out by the powerful release of your energy, which creates openness. Let your inner artist out, out to play in whatever way feels fun, raw, and honest for you. It's time for you to experience something new. Spiritual guidance. You have the need and the ability for creative self-expression. Whether it's your look, your room, your art, your altar, your journal, or your life, you need to be free to let the inspiration within find a way to take shape in the world. Some ideas will come together beautifully straight away, and some will need to be revised or released completely until you feel satisfied by the expression. Your creativity is most powerful and healing when it is true. It is not about someone else getting it or reaching some imaginary standard of perfection or making $1,000,000. The universe has a beautiful plan for your life. When we honestly and creatively express ourselves, we are playing with the universe and helping that beautiful plan to unfold. Some people won't understand the creative process, the importance of working from inner timing rather than internal deadlines, or learning to be comfortable in the mess of possibilities before the inspired ideas reveal itself to you. They may question your sanity or tell you that you aren't living in the real world. You know that the world created from our hearts is more valuable, beautiful, and real than any world created from fear. Creativity is such a gift. It is worth the price of being different and not always being understood. You are an inspiration. Don't hide your creative fire away. Let it burn bright and light up the world. Do ritual, sacred ritual. Do at least 3 things today that you wouldn't normally do. That would be walking backwards for a few moments, mixing up your routine, or trying a new exercise or way of sitting. It would be approaching your art or your work in a way that feels more expressive of your soul. Enjoy the liberation of breaking out of patterns, for you are taking a step towards the creative emergence of something new. So I usually ask, I didn't ask you this because I know you, but I usually ask, like, why do you think this card came up and if it resonates with you? So
Nadine, that ish, because we can't cuss, can we?
no,
But
don't let
it-
Rose get upset now.
it's on
This is a
point,
library program.
girl. It's on point. It is how I am feeling. Like, it is so my life. Like, this is
I
virtual.
hope when
You can,
people watch this, they see that I am a conduit, folks. Hello.
girl. Oh, so this is the, I don't know if you can see this.
Oh
That's the
yeah,
Oh,
tattoo.
cool.
yeah. I know what it looks like, but it's like cool to see how it is down your back. That's nice.
Mhm.
So
I'll take a picture.
Nadine,
I'll take a picture and I'll take a picture of the writing and I'll send it on Messenger to you
thank
later
you.
on. Okay.
I let me tell you that I appreciate that message wholeheartedly because, whoo, I'm in flux right now because like liberation is real. Liberating yourself is real. I tell people that all the time. Like, there's nothing more freeing and more just what to just live in your truth, without worrying about what they saying. Who are they? How they affecting your life? My earrings, I love these are like my favorite earrings. This is James Baldwin and Lorraine Hansberry, two of my favorite writers, and they're dancing. And I
I
got
was
these
going to ask you that. James Baldwin is probably my favorite all-time writer of all time. Someone asked that on one of the other co-creates.
and people get ready has these fly earrings. Rose, I'm curbing myself because I do cuss a
Okay.
lot in
Thank
my
you.
conversation, but I'm curbing it.
That's what I was saying about being straight-laced, just so you know, folks, that I can also use profanity. And as I say to my daughter, people, it's been proven and studied that people who use profanity are more truthful, just so you know.
It's just
Well,
a
I appreciate the restraint for both of you.
Every week, Rose, every week. My training as an educator.
Mhm.
Whew, that was on point. That reading, girl.
Well, good.
Oh, you have no idea. Oh my gosh.
So do you want to go, do you want to say anything more, or because you're talking about, freedom
I
and
feel like when this is the thing. Whew, I work at a job for a salary and to have benefits and all that. And I've been doing this kind of job to make a living for a very long time. It's not creative, it's a routine that I have to do. And I just feel, and it's something that I did okay, I did well. And now I'm in a place where I have to transition because things happen within the organization, and I'm applying, and they want me to apply for other positions within the organization, and I get to like two or three. I get like selected for a position. I get like two or three interviews, and then something happens. I don't get that, and it's like, you know what? God, and my creativity has been surging. Hence the book. That my book is that's going to be published at the end of the year is going to be called Wise Words from a Grown Ass Woman. AZZ. Because I'm owning grown. Because in conversations with good friends, Babs, my good friend, and Markeisha, and we all have good friends, but over the years, many women that are good friends of mine, in black, and especially in black communities across the diaspora, they will say, when you're young, don't be too grown. You ain't grown. Am I right, Nadine?
mm-hmm. I'm like, when do I get to be grown?
When do I get to be grown? And then when you are grown,
with my aunts, I'm like, I'm 50. I don't get to be grown. I'm 50. They let me have the kitchen once, like once or twice. And it went smooth and it went swimmingly and no one fought and the food was great and the presentation was lovely. And then they took it back. They took it back. I was like, you guys like the chaos. It's so like, when do I get to be grown? I'm like, when do I get to be grown? When do I get to be bossy?
Yeah.
But then, you know what? I started to feel like, I don't have to do anything. Like I really don't have to do anything. And that's what they want to do. Hey?
So let me read this piece about being grateful. Whew. And being grateful through going through something, after going through something. I am grateful to you for the lessons I learned on how to love myself, hard lessons learned from the pain I felt from the way you made me feel because you were mean, and just because you couldn't really say what you wanted to say. I don't want to do this. You wanted to say, I don't want to do this anymore. And you went away. For the pain I still feel in my gut when I think of our time together in the deception of a relationship you did not want, and I did not want to have to experience again. So I've now learned how to love myself and celebrate love in all ways that I want from me that shall be mine, for me, by me, not outside of me. And that is some grown ass woman speak.
I know. Yeah. What you desire, you already have.
Yes. Yes, man. It is.
So tell us about your artist journey, because you were talking about it seems like a dance place that is New Haven.
Oh, so Bone Peters, oh my gosh, in the 60s, Angela Bone Peters had a dance school that started out on Orchard Street, right between just before you got to Davenport Avenue, just toward the end of Orchard Street. And all little Black girls went there. We all, and later on, and it was there till like the early 80s. And then it was on Dixwell Avenue where St. Matthew's Church, next to St. Matthew's Church, in that building that I think used to be a firehouse, maybe. Um, and we learned not only how to dance, but about the dance. We learned about the slaves. If we were doing an Afro-Cuban dance, we learned about slaves in Cuba. If we were doing the Catherine Dunham technique, we learned about Catherine Dunham. Some of us were privileged enough to be able to go and see dance in New York. She had trips for us to go, we would all get on a bus, go to New York, see dance, and meet dancers and professional dancers. And it was a village. And and from that, many people started their own dance schools. Sherry Caldwell and Dee Dee's dance started from there, and they continue the legacy because a lot of students they have now have dance schools. But back then, Miss Peters had the dance school for little brown girls, and all of us went there. And we had these huge recitals at Fairhaven Middle School every year.
Can you
in
describe
addition,
like growing up like in New Haven? Like what was New Haven? Like what neighborhood did you grow up in? Did you grow up in the neighborhood that in around Raleigh? Is that where you grew up?
I grew up in Dixwell, right behind the Elks Club on Winter Street, and
Okay.
my grandparents lived on Reed Street in Newhallville, right up from Albertus between Winchester and Newhall. My maternal grandmother, the corner of Newhall and Reed Street is actually Annie Huckabee Corner, because she was a like a matriarch in that community. On the corner of Ivy and Winchester was Ivy Street School. So went to that school. My grandfather worked at the Winchester Gun Factory, which is now Science Park, all fancy. But back in the day, there were a whistle would blow at about 7:30, and all the men would go in with their metal lunch boxes. A whistle would blow about at lunchtime. You see them come outside smoking their cigarettes, because it was the 60s. People were smoking. They come outside smoking their cigarettes and eating their lunches. And then yeah, and then at 4 o'clock the whistle would blow and all the men would go home, and they would either be in going into the houses in Newhallville, the place they lived in Newhallville, or they lived in public housing, which is now Monterey Place, used to be public housing. And so I grew up with grandparents that came up here from the South, migrated here from the South to work at Winchester, which was a place that until World War I happened, they did not hire any Black people until after World War I, because all the white men went off to war, and so they had Black men. So they started recruiting people. People started coming up from the South. And my grandmother, Annie Huckabee, was very much into the education. I'm gonna keep talking because I don't know what happened to Nadine's connection. Is that okay, Rose? Hello?
Sorry, what was that? I got distracted by
I could
something.
keep talking.
Yep, go ahead.
I don't know what happened. Okay. So yeah. So my grandmother was very much she was a a community liaison at Ivy Street School, and she always had food, bags of food and clothing in her office, and toiletries and all that good stuff. And so she was known all up and down in Newhallville, in the Newhallville neighborhood, for being very benevolent. And I grew up in Emmanuel Baptist Church, with the Reverend Cofield and Mrs. Cofield, who had started AIDS Interfaith Network out of that church, and a soup kitchen, and the food pantry, soup kitchen, and clothing drive. So yeah, I graduated from Hill House and went to Morgan State University, HBCU.
I'm
And
so
now
sorry.
That's
You're
okay.
back.
I just kept talking, girl. I got you.
I'm so sorry.
I kept talking.
Technical difficulties.
Rose was like, go ahead.
Yes, I mean, I put on the hotspot. I'll just next time I'll just always put on my hotspot. Usually it's fine, but it kicked me out, and then because it's a webinar, I had to sign up again. I went to the original link, and then it was just downloading, so I had to go to Facebook, and then register again for it to open up again. So did you say that you went to Hill House?
Went to Hill House, yes. I
Okay.
graduated in 1977.
Okay. And
Yep.
how is it going to Hill House? I grew up on West Ivy Street.
So, no, I didn't. But, it was interesting. My time in school. Okay. So, I started out school at, because initially we lived on Tilton Street off of Winchester Avenue. And I started out for I think kindergarten through 4th grade at Ivy Street School, which is now, I believe that the building is like a shelter or something. It's on Ivy in Winchester. So I started out there, and then 4th grade when I was in 4th grade, we moved to Winter Street behind the Elks Club in the Florence Virtue Apartments, behind the Stetson Library. And the little street that's really right behind, it goes from Gulf Street over to Webster Street. It's that little street behind the Elks Club. And I have fond memories of the Freddie Fixer Parade celebrations, which were...
Aren't you on that committee?
I was, yes, I was for 2018 and 19. And then I started Lit Fest, so I had to shift my energy into Lit Fest. But I congratulate the ladies, Patricia Adger and Diane Brown, for bringing that back to its former glory, as in the days when we were growing up here.
I'm going to be off camera just for 1 second. I'm listening to you. I'm just getting some more magazines.
Okay. And so anyway, let me see. That's where I grew up, and went to Hill House. Oh, my school journey. So from there, I went to a school called Baldwin School, which is across from Hill House, which is called Baldwin Court now. It's some townhouses that they built. They tore down the school, built townhouses, but it was right at the park across from Next Haven. There was a school building. There was Baldwin School. I went there for 1 year, and then there was some kind of integrational programming happening in New Haven. So Catholic schools, majority of them, except for St. Martin's and St. Mary's. St. Martin's was on Ashman Street, where the Rose Center is, or the Yale Police Department was, in that park. That St. Martin's used to be over there. But I went to a school called St. Boniface, which was on State Street. There was because of the whatever integration was happening in the 60s. We go there, and it didn't, and experienced some serious segregation.
Yeah.
Serious segregation. And so had to leave that school. I was placed in the back of the class because I had an afro, and the kids said they couldn't see over the cloud of my hair. And this was at the same time, this is the early 70s, so it was around the same time that there were Black Panther trials, and there were Black Panthers in New Haven
Yeah.
that were protecting us, that were protecting our neighborhoods, that were running programs and doing positive things. So
They were doing breakfast programs and
protecting the neighbor, like helping people get medical care, helping people coming out of jail and transitioning, and
a lot of people
those
don't
kinds
know that they had all these different programs that they did for the community that are the basis for a lot of the programs that social services has today, which is like breakfast, free lunch, but then also the free clinics, and that they were involved in a lot of like Eastern medicine and growing food
and teaching you about Black history,
Yeah.
and like teaching Black history. Yeah, so I mean, it was the Black Panther Party for self-defense, and self-defense meant we had to defend ourselves because we weren't being defended at that time by the police department. so the war on drugs, or the war on the crime, they were people creating a safe neighborhood, a safe space for us to live in. And that gets lost in the politics of that. So that's the time I felt like I grew up in. My grandmother and her sisters and my grandfather's sisters, who had came up from Georgia, all came up to work at Winchester. Everybody migrated up here.
Well, tell people
They
what
used to do
Winchester was all
quilting.
about. Tell people, because there's people that watch from all over. So tell people what Winchester was all about.
Oh, I did mention that a little bit while
Okay,
you were off.
okay,
That,
okay,
that
all right.
there was the gun factory that supplied Winchester and Sikorsky and Pratt and Whitney supplied ammunition, helicopters, and machinery for the war. They thrived in World War One. But I also was saying that prior to World War One, they did not hire Black men, because all the white men went off to war. All the Black men were able to get jobs, so hence we had a migration, a Southern migration up here to New Haven and surrounding areas, because Ansonia, I believe, had some factories in the valley, and so it was a lot of work for Black people at that time. So they thrived, and people bought homes. And as I had mentioned earlier, the whistle would blow at 7:30. You see all the men going in with their metal lunch boxes, and then at 12, you see them sitting outside smoking cigarettes, eating lunch out of their metal lunch boxes. And then at 4 o'clock, you saw them going home. And they were walking home. They were walking down Winchester Avenue, going up Hazel Street, going up Ivy Street, going down to Reed Street, up to Goodrich Street, actually, up to the Hamden line, and then the projects. There was the public housing that was that is now Monterey Place. So yeah, and those were communities. I mean, when I was a teenager, I used to like go to parties in the high rise. I had friends that lived in the projects. It was like, hey, it was a community though. People had their doors unlocked because it was like that. It was like that. So
Did you go downtown? Was that a thing? Like when I was growing up, because
downtown had
yeah, because I'm 10 years younger, and so like we used to go to the mall. I didn't really like the mall, but like downtown,
the mall was a different thing. Yeah, well, the other thing was because my uncle had Unique Boutique. For 38 years, my uncle had the Unique Boutique, which was, at the time he started, the only Black hair care, the hair beauty spot around when he started it. And then we got the other people coming in, other in competition grew, and he had to retire. But the legacy lives on in Beauty Plus downtown, because the ladies that that own Beauty Plus, Mel and Elizabeth,
Yes.
the sisters, soul sister duo, and Lisa, they worked for my uncle. And when he retired, they kept it going, and they have been going for many years now. Like,
Right. Yeah,
they might be going for
and
like 20 something years now, right?
yeah, they're downtown on Chapel Street, people,
They're on Chapel Street. Yep.
and they're really lovely, and they have really great accessories. That's what I buy from them a lot. They have really nice earrings and like fascinators and just like very unique things.
And they're getting some really nice African clothing in now. I just was in there today because I had to make a stopover downtown. And yeah, they have some lovely skirts and stuff. So yes. Yeah, the Village of New Haven. Then I went to Morgan State University in Baltimore. Uh, had a great time at HBCU. I left and went to live in New York. In my 20s, I lived in New York. And that is where my love for art and culture really, really became very, it just, and it was enhanced because, wow, I was there in the 70s, 80s, in the 80s. So, yeah, I was auditioning for dance companies and living in Harlem and going to Black theater and volunteering when the movie Serafina came out. Before the movie Serafina came out, and it was a play. I worked with the production company that brought the play here, original play here, and was when they were proposing it, and when it went to Lincoln Center. I did a lot of things. I worked at Essence Magazine for about a year or two, almost 2 years. Yeah. A lot of
You
stuff.
do it.
A lot
What
of
did
stuff.
you do at Essence?
I was assistant to the PR manager. Her name is was Terry Williams. Terry went on to do her own
This is her own PR firm.
PR firm. Yes.
Um, what art institution do you enjoy going to in New Haven?
Oh my gosh. I like all art. All of it. Like, I worked, and as I mentioned earlier, I worked for everybody. I have a newspaper clipping somewhere around here. Like, before the Schubert was Kappa Schubert, the Performing Arts Columbus Arts Performing something, whatever it is now. And it was an independent theater. I worked there as their first uh community liaison, I guess I think it was called. And there was a professional dancer that grew up here named Paul Hall. And Paul was in the early years of AIDS. He passed, and we had a wonderful celebration and mem and oh God, when you have something in memory of somebody, oh, a celebration of
Memorial.
his life.
Memorial.
Memorial. We had a memorial for him in the Schubert lobby that I organized because the Schubert was one of the first places that had he had his own his first solo performance, because Paul had danced all over the world, and then he came back here and he was teaching dance. And so and his brother was teaching dance at CARP for years. I think he's still there. Maybe he was still there. Um, yeah, and then from the Schubert, I worked for the Arts Council as well. And I was on the board for the Arts Council briefly. I worked for Long Wharf. I was a
Wow.
house manager. I was a house manager at Long Wharf. I started a program called Jazz on the Wharf. So after the shows, we would have little performances up in the rehearsal halls of local jazz musicians. We had a women's celebration. I love seeing what's happening now. I think that New Haven is in a renaissance now. Like I had left New Haven a couple of times because of I felt the lack of enough Black people appreciating the arts, but now or being involved in it. I worked on, I worked with arts and ideas in the first years of it. I remember when it was a concept and they were having community meetings about how they were getting it together 26 years ago. 'Cause I think it's 25 years now.
Yes, yeah.
So yes. And so I've worked in several capacities there. So yep. And I did a when I was leaving Long Wharf, and I did a program at I coordinated there's a program that Yale School of Drama has called the Yale Drama School has called the Dwight Edgewood Project, where young people are matched with undergraduate theater students and they create plays. I coordinated that play for that program for 1 year. I created a program called Arts at Work, where teenage kids were taught by Yale grad students about the production side of theater. So they produce a play by we produce a play by a playwright named Marcus Gardley, who was at Yale at the time. Now he's pretty well known in the theater world. And the play was called Like Sun Falling from the Mouth, and we did it at the Afro American Cultural Center. Thank you to Pamela. Oh God, what's Pam's last name? She was the director there at the time. We did a play, we did a weekend at the Afro American Cultural Center, packed up the play and took it down to the National Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, which was a fabulous experience. And
That's
you
amazing.
get to see all Black theater, all Black
Yeah.
actors.
I've never been.
Everybody.
I've always wanted to go.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Do you know Robert O'Hara?
Mm-mm.
He's a playwright.
Mm-mm. So all of this, doing all of these things, I always loved theater. And then then I had my baby, and I had to raise my baby because I've also worked in social services. So Lord have mercy stuff. So I ran a summer program when Community Action Agency years ago had a summer program before the city took on the whole summer program thing. Community Action had that program. I coordinated that program for 2 summers. And then I worked for AIDS Interfaith Network when Mrs. Cofield was alive, God rest her soul, as a coordinator for the day center, and help those clients get food, get services, coordinate activities for them. I always had artists come in doing things with them. We went to the plays at Long Wharf and Schubert and Yale all the
Why
time.
do you like theater so much? Seems like
Why do I like theater so much? It's something about being in the space and it just being taken somewhere else that a movie doesn't do for me. Like live theater is like being in the room with the action happening. And so yeah, so I've always loved that. I mean, I saw a press conference today with Upper was it Upper Room Unlimited Upper Room, something like that. Crystal Emery, who was a wonderful director, producer, and before her health got really deteriorated, she went to UConn and she came back and produced a few plays. One of them was for Color Girls. and we did that at Southern, and I believe at Albertus. Like, I know that place so much, girl, that when the movie came out, I didn't want to see the movie because I knew every line. Like, my girlfriend was like, "Well, we got to see it." I was like, "But no."
I've also produced it.
And the thing is, we have those great classics, but there are so many new voices. There's so many new voices, and one of the things that I really am an advocate of, as much as I love, like I have Lorraine Hansberry in my earrings, and I love A Raisin in the Sun. Love that. But we don't always struggle. Like, sometimes even in our poverty, Black people don't struggle like that. Like, there's some joy. We find joy in things. And having as little as possible, we still have some joy. And we have to, and I wholeheartedly believe that there's so much that we have to fight for, that we have to, there's so much oppression, there's so much against us, so much racism and things happening, that we need to cocoon sometime and recharge, rejuvenate, get some joy, get some love on each other, to get out there to have the strength for the fight.
Well, like, yeah, like I think that, like, in American culture, like everywhere outside of America experiences joy. And, people go to the beach, they spend time with their people, they go to concerts, they, like they experience some type of, they're intentional about experiencing joy. Like, joy here is something that we do on occasion or on a special occasion. That's what a lot of
or people feel guilty about pleasure. I mean, even with COVID, like, folks have been trying to bust out. Like, I need a vacation. I don't care if COVID's there. You gotta get a vacation. And so, yeah, okay. Take yourself to the beach, do your thing, take a chance. You only live once.
I think I finished my first
what you creating?
I created oftentimes for the events I'm gonna have, I either draw them out or collage them. So I'm hoping to have a series in Boston, a picnic series, because like people to produce one, because people want to get outside to be social distance. But so I say celebrating pleasure, set the table, good time, gather and feast, make merry. Our expertise pairs well with your creativity, because it's like working with art organizations.
Yes.
So my idea is to have picnics in all the different places in Boston, the beautiful parks,
Mm-hmm.
So you can be socially distanced, but be able to meet and experience different, like maybe an opera or dancing or, all the different art that people haven't been seeing in person.
I've always loved all of it. I love all music. I love dancing. I'm always dancing.
You're African American. You're not Caribbean, right?
No, my daughter's father is. So my daughter is Jamaican.
Okay.
She is. And so, but when I lived in the 80s, when I got out of school, when I lived in Brooklyn, I lived on Eastern Parkway, girl. Man, right there in Crown Heights. What? In the thick
do you feel like you're an honorary Jamaican? Did any Jamaicans tell you that?
Caribbean, because I've been not just to Jamaica, but to Antigua, St. Kitts, Nevis.
I've never been to St. Kitts. I've never been to those.
Yeah, and trip of a lifetime. I went to Cuba, girl.
Yeah, I've never been there. I've been to
Girl.
Puerto Rico twice. I like Puerto Rico. It's my favorite after
Mhm.
Jamaica. I've been to Anguilla, St. Bart's, St. Martin, um, Bahamas, obviously Jamaica,
Mhm.
um, Trinidad twice. So I think those
Okay.
are. I like Trinidad. Trinidad is not a it's not a beach place. Like Tobago is really beautiful, but Trinidad is like it's very, there's oil there. So
Mhm.
it's not known for its beaches. It has like some nice beaches, but Jamaica has like some really nice beaches, and
Mm.
where my family comes from in Jamaica is like really beautiful beaches. So,
So
it's
Raven's father is from Trelawney.
okay.
And so after I had her, um, after I gave birth, a few months later, we went to visit Jamaica. So we landed in the grill, hung out in the grill, partied, and then we took that ride up the mountains and then stopped along the way so people could play cricket and drink warm beer. And women come with pots from out of the bushes. Like, wait, all of a sudden we got like it's a whole party. Somebody came with a speaker. By the time the cricket game was over, it was a party. I was like, oh, see. And then we went further after the party was over, whatever time in the morning it was. I was crazy, drunk off warm beer and big spliffs. We go up to where the place, the little town they staying in, and girl, it was lovely. I bathed in a waterfall. Had to adjust because one of the places that we stayed at didn't have a indoor bathroom, and the sister's a Yankee, and the outhouse was not cool.
Oh, the
But
outhouses are just like you're like, oh my
oh,
God.
that's trauma. That's trauma. They
Oh,
was
I
cracking
know.
up
I
at me.
grew up with it. Uh, I grew
Child,
up like, I mean,
child.
my younger cousins, I don't know if Tiffany grew up with the outhouse, but I grew up with the outhouse where there was so many people in our, we had 3 bathrooms in the house, and we still had an outhouse because there's still so many people. But you go in the outhouse and you're like, there's a tarantula out here. There's a like these huge bugs. You're like, I don't want
I did not go out there at night, child.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Was
but
not
sometimes
happening.
you're like, okay, you
Nope,
had to go out
nope,
there. Like,
nope.
oh
I
my
was like,
gosh.
give me the pot.
But I just remember it's like, you had to leave, and then I put my hands across the wall to get to the bathroom because it was pitch black. You could not see
It's
anything.
black.
If you turned on the light, it would wake up everyone because it's like just a big old bright light. So you're like,
One light bulb in the middle of the thing. No, I was like,
so
I'm not.
the
I
whole
can't.
house, the whole house is gonna be like
And I
woken
had
up.
my baby. I'm breastfeeding. I had the baby. I'm like, nah, bruh. I'm gonna be a Yankee, and you're gonna find me the pan. I'm just going in the pan at night because I'm not messing with that.
Oh, I don't like
Woo,
that either. Like, no.
no, no,
Um,
no. So
oh,
I wanna read a story about that I wrote about a memory I have of a time when I was young.
okay.
As soon as she walked in, as soon as you walked in, you were hugged by the smell of collard greens, fried chicken, fried fish, Pall Malls, and Newports, with a little faint smell of weed breezing through. Once in a while, the song the song "Groovy People" by Lou Rawls was smoothly playing over the clapping of cards and dominoes and laughter. And somewhere a television was playing some comedy show in an adjacent room designated for the kids to stay while the adults played. Once inside, you pass the large dining room table that seated about 10 people. So there were 2 card games happening on each side, on each end, and 2 people waiting for someone to lose so they could get in. You could look straight into the living room where a few card tables were set up, and the coffee table had been pushed aside, pushed aside against the wall underneath the window by the back door, where the combination of charcoal smoke from the burgers and hot dogs and steaks on the grill sizzled. And some folks were way in the back under a tree smoking some weed away from the light of the windows of the house. Whoo, watch out now, the pop says as he enters, holding an aluminum pan full of food coming through the back door with grilled corn on the cob and meat. Walking through the maze of the card tables and the chairs, balancing the platter in one hand and a red paper cup with his jack in the other. Snaking his way into the kitchen, you follow him you follow him there, and every space is covered with food. The greens on the stove, the greens on the stove, and the grilled food in the oven, and all kinds of liquor on the counters, and a large cooler filled with canned soda and paper plates on top of that. Then you grab a plate, you get your food, grab a large cup to fill with something to drink, and listen to Lou Rawls singing Groovy People. I like to be around groovy people. I don't like nobody that's got an ego. I like to sit around and hold a conversation with somebody who don't know where he wants to go. Give me the simple life full of fun and joy and groovy people. I'm talking about the groovy down home people. And that's a memory I have from childhood.
Thank you. I have another set of cards if you want me to do them for you.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do
I
it.
could do I have 2 sets that I've done myself. They're flower cards
Okay.
and affirmation cards. Which ones would you like?
Now, would you say they're what cards and affirmation cards?
They're flower cards.
Mm-hmm. Flower and affirmation. Let's go with affirmation. Well, if we have time, let's do both. They both sound cool.
Yeah, we could do both. They're easy. We have an hour still. So these are the flower cards, right? I'm gonna shuffle them.
Okay, do I tell you when to stop? Okay.
Okay, so I'm spreading them. Where do you want me to pick? Tell me.
Let's go to the right this time.
Bluebells, humility and kindness.
Wow.
Okay. Why do you think you got that?
I don't even know. Girl, I don't know. What I do know is that what I feel maybe, I was when I started Lit Fest for about 7 to 8 months, I was on my own, and then I was blessed with a team of 2 young women, Emily Mayo and Sha McAllister, that have been very committed and to the Lit Fest and helped me get it going. So passing on a legacy is important to me. Like I tell folks all the time, young people, my child included, that when you meet someone that says they've done enough or they've arrived, that means they peaked and they have nowhere else to go. And in life, as long as you live in, you should always have an aspiration, a dream, an intention, a goal, or something. If you stop, then that means you don't want to do anything else. And for some people, that's a comfortable place, but it's a comfortable place. And if that's where they're comfortable at and that's where they want to be, just consider the source when you are on your journey. And that's what, if you get information from that kind of person, then just know it's not personal. The apprehension or the caution is not personal. It's just that they don't have anywhere else to go. And they can't always understand that you may want to go somewhere.
Right. And I think that, as you get older, you want to have friends that you've had for 30 years. And, it's like having a partner. You want to be able to, ultimately, you say you want to be committed forever, if you're going through traditional marriage. However, it's like, if you're not growing together or growing, that person's growing also, and you have that stagnant energy, and you're, like you and myself, like, we like to go out and go to lectures and learn different things. And I tell people I'm always going to be like that. That's how I've always been. Like, if I can read, I'm going to read. If I'm going to draw, I can draw. If I can make some food, I'm going to, go for, like, I'm looking forward to foraging. And, like so, I can't be with someone who just wants to stay home and be on the couch and watch television, because I don't do that. Like, I can watch television, but I don't watch it every day, because I don't feel like there's anything.
No, and I forget, like somebody will say, oh, this was on. It's like, oh, shoot, I meant to watch that. I will forget to watch television.
Yeah. Well, I also feel that, you can, anything that comes on, you can always watch it later. So it's like, it's not like I have to be,
right,
tied to the television, that, I can watch, I didn't watch the Billie Holiday movie because people said it was kind of rough, and I just didn't know if I really wanted to. I have to be in the mood for that. And
yeah,
I don't have to. I also, like, I mean, Lee Daniels, I don't know sometimes.
Well, I want to say I will say that movie was beautiful. And I also heard that narrative of it was sad. I saw a couple of reviews as well. But it when I worked in social services, because I worked at AIDS Interfaith, I also worked for Youth Continuum for a while. And what some of that gets you to understand is that or you learn in doing that kind of work, is that when something traumatic happens to a child, whatever age they are, that and the way they deal with it is how, as they become adults, how they deal with that. So Billie Holiday grew up in the 30s. She came of age in the 30s, and it was an oppressive time for Black people in America. And she grew up in a whorehouse where people were oppressed. Women were doing what they had to do, but it was that kind of thing that she grew up. It was that time. And even though she achieved some fame, her trauma happened in that time. So whenever the mess hit the fan for her, that she escaped in that. And it was real. It was real for that time. There were so many talented artists, musicians especially, that were caught up in that. And so I'm looking at it from that lens, from that time. Costumes are beautiful though. Like, I'm into cinematography. I'm into the whole.
Like me too. It's just that I take in energy, so I just
Yeah,
have to be I have to be in the mood for those type
you
of things.
you definitely have to be in the movie.
And then also, like, the other one that just came out, Malcolm and whatever. Like I said,
Judas
like,
and the Black Messiah.
oh, not that one, but that, I think you have to be in the right mindset, because he said he had to go to therapy afterwards. And
No,
then,
because you get mad. You get mad.
right. And the one with, like, Denzel Washington's fine son, Malcolm and Marie, I think.
Yes.
So I grew up in
So,
that. So I don't know if I need to see that,
no.
So.
So before I saw that, I saw an interview with both of them talking about because they're both executive producers on that as well. So when you're an executive producer, you know what the script is, and you're investing time and money into the project. And again, this is where I love creation and theater. Because for me, that was a theatrical piece.
Yeah, it seemed like
more
it.
than a movie. And it was about the how many ways people can be in love and sustain it or not. Okay? Because there's no set for in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I ain't no expert. People don't be starting to have all these comments and stuff. Like I'm just saying what's coming out of grown ass woman's head. From my experiences, you know, because you got to have deep conversations. Any people that you know that been in a relationship for extended periods of time, or married for years, or just in relationships, they'll tell you it's not easy. It's not all peaches and cream. It's some work sometimes, and you got to go deep. And they went deep. And
well, it just sounds like it sounds like it was very toxic though, and
it can be.
It did, but also, like, I mean, like I said, I grew up with a lot of that, so like to me, like I don't want to. I know that people can get into arguments, all that kind of stuff, like, but I don't want to be in relation and my partner say things that, or just like even in family members, like can say things and fight in ways that you remember what you said. And so like if you're mad, like I have like crazy mouth, but I try, like if I use it on you, then I know that I'm burning a bridge, and I brought the dynamite and I wanted to. But like I'm old enough and have gone to therapy enough to understand that, you know what, when I take a little adult time out and shut my mouth up and wait like maybe a little while, and even if I wait till the next day, usually you don't want to go, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and you know what, I posted something not just maybe last week that said, sometimes you gotta burn some bridges so you don't cross them again.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, some people
like
deserve,
whatever you need to get to your next level, you got to do you like, and people are going to drop off along the way. Like everybody's not going to be on board, and that is what it is, and you have to be no, you don't have to be. I hate to say have to be, but it's like what is desired around you, what you want around you will happen. Like that card that you first pulled for me, like that is my life right now. Like, whoa. But it was a journey to get here. It was people that came in and out of my life, whether it was lovers, whether it was friends, it was family, it was whoever. I still love them, but we can't do everyone. You just can't. And I give it to Shonda Rhimes because she got to a place where she made enough money where she could do the year of yes. A sister cannot do the year of yes. No.
Why?
I'm not doing no. Like more power to her for being able to do that. But her life got to that level in circle where she could. Like I'm not because I need some of my space. How many times, Nadine, and I'm talking from grown women perspective here, you've been with somebody that you thought was all that, and then all of a sudden your life is sucked. It's like, wait, whoa, where am I? Where did I go? And that is not just a lover. That is sometimes friends who select to be. They always want to come to you for this, for that, or they're going through. Sis, make a choice. Everything's an option. It's an option.
Well, I was saying to someone, I was like, it's like it's like where do you draw the line? Like there's certain things I can listen to now, there's certain things that I can't. And then some people want to say that, you're being mean to them, but I have to like, you know, a lot of stuff is about manifestation and intention. And so,
Absolutely.
like you have a friend that she's having trouble with her husband, but it's like 10 years ago, you knew not to marry him. So, and she's like, no one wants to hear about me and my husband. I was like, no one does. No, because you've been talking about the same ish for 10 years. So it seems like what's that movie where Groundhog Day? You're like, it's like over 10 years ago, people told you not to marry home dude and you decided to, and he hasn't changed. Well, what are you going to do about it?
Oh,
You know, and maybe perhaps you should go to therapy because I do not have the
girl,
skill.
listen, I've been doing therapy for years because I without telling too much on Facebook Live, like I love my
And we're
mother.
talking about menopause and everything like that. I thought we are going all the way in.
Oh, menopause too. Wait. We can get to menopause. Because let me tell you something. Let me tell you, I told some young women because things happen to you in menopause that you kind of understand when people say you don't give a F.
Well, also,
Like,
what I've been trying to
and
do
why
is
is
like
it
at
called
least
menopause? What men got to do with it? What do men have to do with it? What the heck do they go through?
I was saying to someone that you try and you don't know like when you're gonna have a volcano, because it's like it's like you're all nice and then all of a sudden it's like gonna be an eruption and people are like, who this? Like they didn't you're like, and it can just happen. People are like, it's so jarring. It's like, it's jarring for me too.
Well, for me, because I'm 61, it is a long gone memory.
You're like, you thought your friend was gone and then it makes a reappearance. You're like, okay. So let me do these affirmation cards before I forget. So,
Okay.
all right, since we're talking about
the affirmation cards, because we going left here.
Well, I mean, like we're talking about, like in regard to creativity helps with my mood. It helps with my mental health. It helps with making me feel joyful. And because a lot of people like happiness, like a lot of stagnant stuff is in them. Sorry. And they need to let it out in some, like they need to get it out in some way,
I'm the one drinking wine and you slipped up.
I try and focus. So where do you want me to go?
Okay, wait. These cards. Ooh. Okay, go left of center in this one.
Okay.
These are the intention cards, right?
These are affirmation
cards. Okay.
I deserve all that is good.
Nadine, there it is. Girl, what? Hallelujah.
Call me the card whisperer. The card whisperer. Yeah.
Okay, I got a poem.
Okay.
Be the wind that lifts your wings. Be the strength you gathered from your ancestors. Be the wisdom of who I am now. Inspire from within. Motivate others to become all they can be. Live on with the lessons from the pain. Live on in strength, fortitude, gratitude. Live on to give. Live on to get to where you want to be.
Hello.
Jesus.
So you're talking, I think, a little bit about travel.
Girl,
Where do you want to go?
I do want to go someplace tropical.
Oh, like, oh, where? So where?
Well, actually, Jamaica is one of the safest places right now. No, because I'm being COVID. Like, listen, I've been getting tested every 2 weeks. Like, I don't care, people. I was able to get a shot. I got a shot on the 24th. I get my next one on March 24th. Like, I am, like, some folks is like, I'm masking up, whatever. So I've been just keeping track of where it could be COVID safe. Like, you know, um, I like, a lot of people are going to Mexico,
Yeah.
but the Mexican government is not being safe with its citizens. And the citizens are the people who care for you
Yeah.
when you go there. In as much as those people need that money, and Mexico is beautiful, I'm not messing with that. Like, I'm going where the country is like, okay, we want to protect our people and we want you to come. Because if they're not considering their people, they don't care if you can take the COVID back to the United States. Go ahead, bye. And everybody responds to it differently. So I don't want it.
Oh, that's like, people are like, oh, well, it's like not a big deal. It's like everyone responds differently. And I already have perimenopause. That's the only thing that I need. I don't need any like, I don't need any more brain fog. Okay. I have enough. like, so, oh, yeah, so not a big deal. It's like, okay. I'm trying to do one more collage.
Okay. Oh, so you did 2 or 1?
I just did one. I did
Okay.
one collage. And now I'm trying to manifesting my dream home.
Okay.
It's my portable
You know, and I've been thinking I might want to scale back.
What scale
Not
back
quite
to
a
what?
tiny home. Not like a tiny home, but just another space. But it's in process. It's in process.
Oh, why?
I just want to have what I need. in like in sunlight and you know, high ceiling. Like that.
Do you want to live in New Haven still?
Oh yeah. Like, oh, I want to live in New Haven. I want to live in New Haven from April to November. And then I want to live in a tropical place and have a little retreat, maybe for writers, yoga, people to come chill out. Yeah.
So where do you want to have that?
So I was considering Costa Rica, but again, they got their COVID issues.
Oh, they do there?
Yeah, they got some COVID issues. But you know, but it may get better. Who knows? But I'm looking at I'm exploring where that could be, and what kind of what do you call that what kind of income I could have. So writing is imperative. And I need the residual income. So there's that. As I want to live comfortably, but I don't want to live in snow in my 70s and 80s. I don't want to live in snow.
Yeah.
I want to have the option to be out of the snow.
Yeah. Snow is a little much now, even though we haven't really been having it the last couple of years.
No, well, February was enough winter. February was winter enough.
But it wasn't really that bad though. Come on. if it compared to what it could be. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Us New Englanders have to be realistic. We are in New England. We are supposed to have snow.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't care. I don't want snow though.
Mm-mm.
If we have global warming, so be it. We don't notice that we've been in a drought because we don't have, people complain about rain and stuff, but we haven't really gotten a lot of rain or a lot of snow. So that affects our food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
You know what? It is what it is going to be. We have to do the best we can to be the healthiest, the best we can be. Like, I'm looking forward to these, spring coming, get back on my bike, do some biking, do some hiking, walking, working out outside, things like that. Like, I like that. Everybody is not down with that. And it's
Oh, being
okay
outside?
with working out or like getting on a bike or doing things.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm so ready to be outside. Like, I mean, these it was so nice to go out today and just, I love when it's warm outside. We're stuck inside almost every day, especially if you're following COVID guidelines. So,
Girl,
like you said, just trying to live.
just trying to be. And however you be, it's always going to be somebody that ain't down with it, don't like it, mad at you. And oh well.
What sign are you?
I'm Virgo
Okay.
with Aries rising.
That's a lot, huh? Virgo to
And
Aries combination.
no, I'm sorry, Aries moon. And it's fire. I gotta look it up again. But yeah, it's like earth, fire. Yeah.
I'm a Libra with a Sagittarius,
Okay.
I think. Sagittarius mooner.
My moon is in Aries. Yes.
It explained a lot. I was like, oh, I could see how I'm a Sagittarius.
My rising is Taurus. So I'm Virgo, Aries, Taurus.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, child. It's a lot. So when it comes to dating, let's talk. You want to talk about dating as a mature woman?
That would be funny for people, for both of us, to maybe talk about
man,
huh?
Whew, get the men my age that tell me you got too much energy.
I know. That's why I said. I mean,
they be like, we old. Listen,
no.
And then I get to 50, you 50, but I get the 50-year-old men that just want to throw down. Like
the 50?
Yeah.
Well,
and
I get a lot of people who admire, but no one really asks me out. I think they're afraid.
Nadine, it's like the folks that they like the idea of you, but the reality.
Well, that's why I said also like
way more. And then also, and I tell my friends this all the time, we have to expand the geography. Like
I don't mind doing that.
Yeah,
and
no.
Will you?
I don't mind doing it either. And you have to.
Will you expand race?
I'm not sure. I haven't yet.
Okay.
I haven't yet. So I'm not sure. And I've never been approached. I've never, I haven't been attracted to anyone in particular.
So you won't be having a bad story? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's her story. That's her story. Like, Babs got joy. That's my girl. She got joy. We all have our joy in our different ways. We're not all the same people, you know? So, I'm good. I'm good. But it's just like we live in a small, well, New Haven is a community, and there's no availability here. So in our age range, I don't know how it is for younger
No,
women.
I think there's availability. I think that's the thing. Like, we have to stop saying that. There's availability. It's just not necessarily people that you want to go out with. I think there's availability. There is like, because like people who say that, but there's like there is availability. It's
Oh,
just not necessarily people that you might want to go out with, so that makes it kind of difficult. But yeah, I don't mind going somewhere else. But I travel all the time, and I mean, I don't now during COVID, not, but before. I'm just concentrating on enjoying myself.
girl. And being the best you can be, and making contributions where you can.
Exactly. All right. Here's my other one.
So what's this one?
This is my
Luxury. Okay, your next house.
Yep. Boston roof deck. Come on, let's go.
Okay. Boston is your town, huh?
I love Boston. Like if I have the choice between going to, like I thought I wanted to go down to Newark, actually. I love Newark, the art scene, New Jersey, like Northern Jersey, that art scene, because, you can still participate in New York, but you can have a better quality of living. A lot of people probably look at Newark like, oh my God, but there's like the Forest Hills neighborhood that is
No, there's
Frederick.
like Newark got some popping stuff.
Yeah. Like, like the Forest Hills neighborhood is just like Edgewood, like the same kind of Frederick Law Olmsted, huge park they have there, and they have a whole neighborhood built around it. But it looks like it looks like Edgewood Park, but they have houses just like they have in East Rock down what's that house, that street that has the nice houses? Is it Prospect, or the big old kind of mini mansions?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it looks like. And then there's another place called Weequack, and that is that's like more like Edgewood, because they have another park, Weequack Park, that's huge, and they have all these neighborhoods, all these houses that like 5-6 bedroom houses, and they have in-laws, and like they're really nice. So I thought I'd move there. I was gotten really involved in the art scene for the last couple of years down there. But then, like, my brothers live in, like, one of them lives in Hong Kong now. And he lived in Bed-Stuy anyway. So I'm like, if I live in Newark and getting over to Bed-Stuy on a good day, it's going to be like an hour each way. And then the other one lives in Riverside, which is technically closer, but would probably take an hour and a half each way from Newark at least. So and then just with the pandemic, I'm like, the idea of living in New York and
Well, I'm kind of glad I moved back prior to the pandemic, because all my friends in New York have experienced COVID.
Oh.
And
they all gotten it?
Either they got it or somebody very close to them has.
Yeah.
And then there's things I miss about New York, but there's other stuff that I don't. And yeah, so and New Haven has its perks. We had like it was popping, and there's a little renaissance happening despite. I mean, there's a support for arts like there hasn't been before ever, and there's a renaissance and integration of these arts organizations that's happening that I'm looking forward to the summer and what's happening here.
Yeah. I feel sad that Arts and Ideas is planning there. I think most of it's going to be virtual.
Well, they said hybrid, so some
Yeah.
is not, some is, and some isn't.
Well, I said most of it.
Okay.
I'm just saying what I looked at. Um,
It's gonna be a hair show. It's gonna be cute. I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be interesting because we do some interesting things with hair.
have an outdoor hair show.
Hmm.
Um,
But I miss things like you Firehouse 12 that has the greatest jazz music.
I know.
Like,
A lot of people don't know about that and how inexpensive that series is. Like you can get a whole
jazz series.
series for maybe like $200 for the year, if that, and you get to have people who come from. You get to sit down in a seat, and you get to see people from New York, like Wayne and Scoffrey, and other
Yeah,
people that have maybe played at Yale
up
or
close and
just
personal, and then
yeah,
have a drink with them down at the
yeah,
bar after the thing.
right. And
You
like
know, it,
Firehouse 12 has like really good food, like finger food, but really good drinks too. And I love the vibe there because just being like we're older, it's not like a rah-rah bar. It's very sophisticated but fun. They always play really good music, really good all different types of music that is like
absolutely,
superb. So
absolutely.
it's like when you go down there, the vibe is nice. The bartenders are cool. I do miss on Fridays how they used to have the happy hour. I do miss that. I wish they would bring that back.
I miss a few happy hours, but
I'm like, is happy hour ever coming back?
yeah, I'm
No,
having happy hour right now. Alone.
I know making me feel some type of way, but I drank some tequila last night and it interrupted my sleep. So
Yeah.
it was hibiscus and grapefruit. It was really good. Very smooth.
And I miss places like Ordinary. They had a good happy hour. They had a good
Yeah.
drinks.
I know.
Um,
I miss Moy from Happy Hour. And
yeah,
yeah. I wonder how he's
yeah.
doing with his new baby and everything. And I miss the Anchor, their happy hour, but I think they're still open. I
Mm,
haven't been because it's been cold, but
right. Well, summer's happening. Things are opening up. They have like outdoor stuff. So
yeah.
it could be happening again. I mean, and like there was an underground jazz series that the undergraduates at Yale had
Oh,
that was slamming.
where was that?
In one of those colleges off of Elm Street, where you had to stand there and like get buzzed in, and it was like going to Hogwarts or something.
Oh, next time they have that, I want to know. I want to go.
It was the Yale Undergraduate Jazz Collective. You could Google that and it'll
Yeah,
come up, and you could
yeah.
get on their mailing. It's a Yale and they would have very good. Oh my! It is underneath those like we go down Elm Street all the time, like between York and College Street. That whole look like all the dorms and stuff. It's right over there. That series was free and it was wonderful. And I missed the Southern. Like Southern had the great a nice jazz series in the fall, in the spring. That was really nice at
Have you
Lyman
been to,
Hall.
I know, have you been to the museum? I'm like, I want to see if the museum, because I didn't know if they closed it. They had opened it up the
which one?
the Yale Art Gallery and the British Art Gallery, because they'd open it up for appointments, and then every time I would try and go, I could not get an appointment. But I wanted to see if it, I didn't know if it was closed now that, like we had the spike and stuff like that. So I don't know. I had to go see if they were open still, because I want to go. I haven't been such a long time. I miss it.
Yeah, I haven't been like, dang, I haven't been out since the beginning of, like, last summer. I was doing the porch. That was my social.
Oh, just going over to Babs?
It was over the Babs porch or in my backyard. That was it. And my cousin, actually, one of my cousins, her and her husband, they've just built a whole backyard thing, and they would have some soirees and even they had movie nights and stuff. So I did that. But other than that, it wasn't a lot of gathering.
Yeah, I had like
The sister
socially
was cautious.
distanced.
The sister was cautious. I wasn't trying to fuck around to get that. Sorry, Rose.
Maybe she's not. Maybe she's
But I
not
was
on
trying
right
to
now.
be. I was trying to be like.
I'm here. If you said something, I didn't catch it.
I was trying to be
No
as
one
close
else did
as
too.
possible.
I had socially distanced picnics. Those were fun.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that Arts and Ideas has concerts on the green, and they just do spaces.
Yeah, because I think
get
like if you do like picnic, if you do size blankets, then
right.
everyone will be socially distanced. That I think that you can have those type of events. Like I don't know how much longer it seems like we're gonna be in this, but we gotta try and live with it at this point now. And so
That's it. It's gonna be a way of life. It's gonna be a way of life.
well, my brother who lives in the one that lives in Hong Kong, I said to him, because like we don't get that news and stuff. So like how long are they saying over there? And they said not to like 2024, because like till the whole world is vaccinated, like these little small developing world countries, like when are they gonna get vaccinated if we can't get vaccinated here?
Listen, but we have states here in the United States like Mississippi and Texas that are opening up, and those mofos did not have the capacity to handle any of the COVID cases that they had, and they still getting them, but they opening up, and they don't have, and they're
the
not
thing is like what people didn't
step
learn
into the
from.
place. So we got stuff right here.
Well, I know, and then what people like with all of that, it's like, didn't you guys learn from New Orleans and Carnival? Like, I mean, didn't you guys learn Mardi Gras? It's like last year they shouldn't have opened Mardi Gras, and they did, and then look at all those wonderful, you're talking about jazz people that passed away. That so yeah, that's crazy. I don't know who would want to go down. Like I mean, I'd love to go dancing so much. Like I really want to dance, but it's not, you see down in Atlanta and these places, like I'm good. I'll dance at home with D Nice on my phone in my room by myself. Talking about I see you on Instagram, my friends. Like I see you.
I love New Orleans.
Me too.
Say something. New Orleans is like the party town. But I mean, I think they learned a lesson from that Mardi Gras thing, and they got it under control. But other places, places in the South are not being.
Well, people are going for that money, but it's not really worth it when especially like your old people. If you've lived to 86 years old, it's kind of terrible that all these people that die of COVID. You've lived through civil rights, you've lived through like all these things, and then you go out through that. But
or
I look forward. I was supposed to go to
brings it to you.
Yeah. I was supposed to go to I was supposed to have my 50th birthday down there. So it's like there's like beautiful, mansion, had a swimming pool, and I was gonna have 8 friends come and we just frolic and act crazy. And it's like, nope, not going. And then even this year, like the plan for this year, it's like if you want to go in December, it's like I guess you'd have to just wait beforehand, but as things stand now,
There
yeah.
are, I think Jamaica is one of them countries that's safe, but it's a few other countries that are doing a lot. Not even countries. The U.S. Virgin Islands are cool. They're handling their things
I want
well.
to go to Puerto Rico, but people in Puerto Rico don't want you to go. And it's true. Like, if you don't, like, I feel like these islands, even Jamaica, they have more cases. They were shut down. They had barely any cases. And when they opened up and started with the travel, that's how now they have like maybe
Because
400
Americans and
cases.
Europeans lie
Right.
about
That's what,
the
but that's why I'm saying
situation.
that. Right. And so they didn't have a lot of cases. And then they started opening up. And then now all these islands were great. And then now they're getting cases. And they, believe me, are you trying to get sick in Jamaica? No, no, no.
No, and I noticed that all the travel sites now require you to get travel insurance.
Oh, oh,
Right.
really?
So if you do go somewhere, you gotta be, and you have to be some you if you
To
do
be
go
air
somewhere, you
back
gotta get
out.
travel insurance, but
Okay.
you
Like
also need to be like,
people be
how close are you to
surprised.
the hospital? Because you
Right.
need to think about it. If you go to in the past, you go to these places, you go someplace up in the mountains, it's remote,
Well,
ain't got no
that's what I was
hospital.
gonna say, like, girl, like, I was like, people don't understand. It's like you're there by yourself. It's like I don't think that people understand. It's like I'm sick, and then you don't have any sheets, you don't have any towels. It's like you have to bring your own sheets and towels to the to the hospital. Yeah, you do. You have to bring your own food to the hospital. Yeah, you do. So can you imagine? It's like, no, I'm good.
That's why I
As I
said
saw,
Jamaica.
no,
At
like
least
I
in
saw it with
Jamaica,
my
you got
grandmother.
people. If something
My
happened to you in Jamaica, you got people. Somebody will
Well,
come.
that's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that I don't want to get sick. Because seeing my grandmother, we cried. We're like, oh my God, you know? And then you're like, I say to my cousins when, I have two cousins that live in our family house by the beach. And one particular cousin, he's hilarious. And I just say to him, like, I say, bye, I'm going back to foreign, I'm going back to civilization.
You stupid. But listen, even the state of Florida is crazy. They crazy. I got cousins in Tampa, Jacksonville, Orlando, and they're like, these people are clean off. They're like, nobody has been compliant in Florida. Everybody been listening to
Well,
the
that's the
former
thing. Like,
president.
I mean, about going down there when people are like, they want to go down there. I was like, these people, and they look at you if you put on a mask, like you might be a target. So that's crazy. It's like I'm trying to save my life and I might die because I have a mask on. Like, what kind of place are we living in? And I want to go. Like, I was looking at the Food and Wine Festival, the South Beach Food and Wine Festival is in May, and I really want to go. But I'm like, the way that stands now, May is just 2 months away. Like,
Yeah, no. I'm and I'm looking at doing I want to tour book festivals and black book clubs. I mean black book stores across the country.
have you ever been to the Philadelphia book festival?
No, I haven't been to the Philly one.
Yeah, it's really
I've been
good.
to Boston, I've been to Brooklyn, well, Brooklyn, Harlem, Queens, what else? Boston. But I'm like book I want to do a book festival tour.
Yeah.
So
That'd be really fun. And like the the black bookstores. I've always wanted to do like barbecue tour. And with the barbecue tour, you have the art and the folk art tour. And then also the vintage clothing slash, going antique shopping tour. I think those are the three
mm.
things, right? Yeah. And then also like I love like green space, so different types of green space, but barbecue, art, also music. Do you like Ben Harper?
Girl, I like music. Yes.
So I planned
And
a
that's the other thing.
tour.
I've been live jazz festivals. Oh my God. Like all Newport,
I know.
Toronto Jazz, like, oh, the Capitol Jazz Fest, the
Saratoga. Have you been to
Saratoga Jazz
Saratoga?
Fest.
Yeah, I
Yes,
love Saratoga.
I
That's really
miss
nice.
I miss the jazz festivals. I miss them. So hopefully something opens up.
I
Hopefully,
know.
you know, and we could be safe in it.
Do
But
you
in the
write every
meantime,
day?
you know what? No. And I'm going to get to that. But
Have
I
you ever
do.
done the artist pages?
What's the artist pages? I have what is
It's a
that?
book that came out, I don't know, I think in the
Was it years
80s.
ago? Was it
Yeah, in the 80s. Her name is something Cameron. I forgot her first
no, I
name.
did. I have done that. Yes.
Yeah.
What is that called? It's not the artist pages. It's something else.
The
But I have
artist way. The artist way.
artist way. I have done the
Yeah.
artist way a
You
few
do,
times.
you do writing pages. And so that's why, yeah.
Right. And
So
so, but I write 3 or 4 times a week. And like I make a point to doing that. But because Lit Fest also has the book club, I'm reading because writers read.
right.
Like I've talked to a couple of writers, a couple of authors, because a lot of people are self-publishing. People have been self-publishing left and right, and it's wonderful. And there's an audience for everybody. But I really feel like a great writer also reads, and not that anybody else influences what you have to say, because what you have to say is in your head. But it's just good to see what's out there and be educated.
And also, like, in order to be a good writer, you have to read good writing, you know? I'm a trained teacher, writing teacher. So, I would say parents are just like, oh my God, my kids didn't do well on the SAT, and you're like, well, you should read and then talk about it. And they're like, read? It's like, yeah, in order to become a better writer, you got to read good writing.
Yep.
And like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to influence you, but just seeing different styles, so you come up with your own
And
style
yes,
is really important.
it
It's just
is.
like
And
it's
I'm
just
a
like
reader. I have an extensive bookshelf.
library. Yeah.
I, like my books go everywhere, and this isn't even all the ones that I could put in here. I got some bins with books in them.
I don't know if we should get political, but I thought it was interesting this week that Karen Du Bois.
I went to her. I went
I
to
thought
her.
that was interesting. I was like, oh, where did this come from? Did you Is that something that's been brewing, or?
I believe it has been, and I think that someone that has the experience, because I looked at some of the comments on the Independent about Karen, about like, oh, another Yaley, blah blah. But she came here to Yale in '85. She'd been here. She raised 2 sons who went to New Haven public schools. Her and her husband do things in this community. They own a home. Our current mayor does not own a home here. So it's not like, she's invested in this community and has done and is involved in other organizations that outside of her sorority that are about um improvement. So personally, like, I feel like, okay, let give her an opportunity. And if folks are feeling some kind of way about it, then step to the plate, because there are always people that are in the wah 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 wah. They want to be all that. Okay, they want to give all the opinions. When are you going to make the change that you want to see? How are you going to make the change that you want to see? Politicians work for you. Politicians work for you. Your vote gives you the power to hold them accountable. So, and everybody doesn't understand that. People are like, oh wow, whoever is in office, whether you voted for them or not, they're still accountable to you. You can still roll up on them. You can still write them email them.
Well, look, I mean, especially in New Haven, the way they have the aldermen, like all those meetings set up, you can be involved, and especially now that everything is on Zoom, there's really no excuse.
You can show up and you can have your voice heard, but you can also step to the plate and work the machine for yourself. So if you're willing to do that, like, unless you're willing to do that, like, what are you going to do? Not vote? And I don't believe in that, but there are people that do. There are people that are like, there's nobody, blah, blah, blah. We have no choice. Like, there's people that felt like that about the presidency. I mean, Elliker won just saying that he wasn't Tony Hart, but what the hell does that mean? You don't have an agenda, bruh. And I'm sorry, it's like the libraries are under the city.
Well, it's like, the thing is, like, though, everything is, but it's like, it's also public, and I mean,
it's for the people.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like,
every 5 libraries in the city, and every one of them serve people.
Yes, we have to give a shout out for. We have to give a shout out for the Mitchell Library also.
Yes,
So the next hearing, I couldn't be at this hearing, but I definitely want to be at some of them. I'm definitely going to write something, because I grew up going to the Mitchell Library from 5th grade to 8th grade. And, when you weren't supposed to have after school program, and my aunt knew Mrs. Isaacson said that we could come from St. Aidan's and walk over there every single day after school. And we used to help her shelve those books and do our homework and read. And she would give us a quarter to go get our brownies, and we would sit on those benches behind there. And it was just like so lovely and so safe, because, I lived in New Orleans in the 80s. And so we couldn't take the bus home by ourselves because there was no one there. And it wasn't that type of party then. So it was great that you could go to the library. But I mean, that library has a special place in my heart. And when I came back to New Haven 10 years ago, I used to bring Soleil there they had Spanish and, meetups, and they had so many different great programs.
Listen, the libraries were community centers before there were a bunch of community centers, and that is a travesty.
And I'm like,
are you kidding me? Are you,
Rose? Isn't that library the most used library?
I'm not certain, but I know I read in an article today that it's like neck and neck for the main branch of like most curbside pickups they've had during the pandemic. So
like that library.
You can't.
All of them are widely used, but I would probably think that one is the most widely used, probably next to downtown.
All of the libraries, anytime you would go, when I was planning Lit Fest, I had meetings in all the libraries. You know what I mean? Like, all of them are valuable.
Yeah.
All of them
are used.
Community.
Yeah.
All of them are utilized.
Yeah.
There's moms in Westville that homeschool their kids, and where do they bring them? To the Mitchell Library. Like, ooh. So I would say, for the people that have been home, not buying on Amazon and saving some money while they're in COVID, like, contribute some money to keep the library open.
Right.
How about that? How about that?
Well, I hope they can find another line item somewhere else. Like, I don't think that would be like such a loss that, especially over there too. It's like one of the only places that you can, there's the new coffee shop and over there, but that's probably the only 2 places that people can gather kind of together.
And it serves, like, there's
a big area.
So let's talk about the segregation in our city, and talk about like the Valley Street Westville and the other Westville. Everybody goes to the daggone library. everybody's even there. It's a
Yeah.
segregation in other ways, but everybody goes there. So, okay, don't get me on that. And it's 8:30. Are we? What time?
Oh, we're
Yep, it's 8:30.
yeah. So 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 next week we will have Juju, but she might not be here, Rose, just so you know. But I'll have another guest, so we'll do something.
Okay.
Her mom is ill, and so she's a no. So we'll figure that out. But for those of you who like, cooking, the last Monday of the month, I have Meatless Monday, and we're talking about foods from the blue zones. And then also the last Wednesday of the month, which is 31st, we're doing make and take bags and making portable goddess altars. And so here is kind of like a representation. We're using cigar boxes, we'll be decorating them, but then we'll be making things that you put in it and that you can bring it to wherever you are and have a nice portable altar. And this is like, I would say that probably going to be my best make and take bag.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So yeah, and there's only going to be 15. There's only gonna be 15, so you better call Rose and try and get the old one. Oh, Rose, I want to get something for the dried vegetables. I kept on meaning today to email you, and I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I've got your kit. So when you come to drop off the stuff from,
I didn't know if I didn't know which one. Like I didn't know.
And I just want to say to everybody, Elm City Lit Fest book club is Sunday. It's the second Sunday of the month at 7 p.m. Email us elmcitylitfest@gmail.com. You get a 15% discount at People Get Ready if you get your book there. And the book that we're reading this month is Girl, Woman, Other by Bernadine Evaristo.
Okay. And you can find out more about Elm City Lit Fest on their website, on Facebook. And you are having your Lit Fest in September, correct?
September 11th and 12th.
All right.
And
so
more information to come. Thank you so much, Nadine. It was fun
you,
talking to you.
Yeah, it was fun talking to you too. And hearing your poems
thank you,
and your writing. Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Thank you, Rose. See you later.
Have a
Bye.
good night.